Hello. Happy Sunday, everyone. How's everyone holding up? Good, good. I'm Dana Han-Klein, and it is my pleasure to be here with Julie Benz. Okay, we're gonna take it. Yeah. Put my shoes on this, and then the prop people will leave me. I'd like to start by talking about ice skating.
That was so long ago.
So you started as an ice skater.
I did. I started at the age of 3. I competed for 13 years. I officially retired at 16, but I got injured at 13, and that's when I started acting.
So there's obviously a performance element to ice skating.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that kind of helps like transition you to. But when did you realize that like acting was the thing that, yeah, I'm gonna do this for my career?
Yeah. So when I got injured at 13, I couldn't skate for a year. And my mom didn't want me sitting around being a normal teenager. So she dragged me to audition for a play at a local community theater. And I got the play. And then she dragged me to meet a modeling agency, and they had like a seminar where you met like a casting director and a manager. And so I went to that, and I met a manager who became my manager, and then I started going to New York for auditions, and I did go back to skating for 2 more years, and I had to make a decision at 16 whether I was going to go away and train and basically push for the Olympics, or quit and focus on acting, and I just decided there was more longevity as an actress than as an ice skater.
Which is a bold move as a teenager, considering like the success rate of some people's careers.
I know, right?
Good gamble, good gamble.
Yeah, I took the riskier road, I think.
So who are some of the role models in your life? It sounds like your mother was a driving force at least, but who are some of the people you look up to?
Wow, Oprah.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't look up to Oprah? Growing up, I think for me, it was a lot of my mom. My mom was not allowed to go to college. My grandfather didn't think women should go to college. So she wasn't allowed to go to college. She was never allowed to pursue any kind of dream of hers. Her role was to get married and have kids. And she made sure that she raised my sister and I to think otherwise, that we could pursue and do anything we wanted to do.
And then speaking of college, we were just chatting about how you went to NYU.
Yes.
And how does the New York kind of theater thing, how did that influence you in terms of like now your approach to things?
I think for me, going to NYU was important. I mean, I really wanted to go to USC. And my parents wouldn't let me go to California because they knew I would never come home. Because I wanted to go to Hollywood. I wanted to be on TV. I didn't really want to do theater. So I think it was important that I went to NYU and I did do theater. It gave me a different perspective of what I wanted, and it also gave me some clout when I moved out to LA. And it was fun. I loved living in New York City. But I mean, literally in all they would do the evaluations every year, and every teacher would write, "Go to LA and get your TV show." You're not meant to be in New York. And I was like, I know. It was fun.
And then you continued to study afterwards, though, right?
I did. My acting teacher, Tony Greco, I met him my last year at NYU, and I continued studying and taking classes with him, and he would teach in LA, and so when he was in LA, I would go to his classes, and I think acting is a journey. You do have to constantly study. I've actually been thinking about going back to class, just to, I don't know, see if I developed any bad habits. I don't know if I have. It's hard to tell.
Well, I think with any kind of skill, right, you want to make sure that you are keeping up with it, right? It's an evolving craft.
It is, and because you're evolving as a person, your craft is evolving and changing too. And sometimes I think it's important if you want to deepen your work or do something different or try a different approach, that it's important to go back to class and try it there.
So I'd love to know, what is either the most logistically or emotionally challenging scene that you can remember?
I always feel blank at these questions under pressure, but then I'll think about it like 3 hours from now. The one that was the toughest on Angel was singing. I'm not a singer. Terrifies me, and I was absolutely terrified. And thank God they picked a song that only had 3 notes in it. But I got to record it ahead of time. And even in the sound studio where we were recording it, I had to have them close the curtains between the glass, and I had to hide in the corner and turn out the lights and close my eyes and pretend I was by myself. It was really tough. Singing is not my thing. You will never see me at karaoke ever. Never. So.
Do you have any other memorable audition stories? Because you auditioned early and you to great success, obviously. Because you were working when you were in school.
Yeah, I think for me, I've always loved auditioning. And I think it's because it's not ice skating. There's nothing more terrifying than competing as a figure skater. You got one shot, and if you
There's
fall,
no take two.
No, there's no take two. If you fall down, that's it. And you gotta continue. You still have to finish your program. So I think the transition to acting was, the audition process was so, I took to it very easily because I was oh, they don't really know if you screwed up. They can't tell. You're not, and unless you physically fall down in an audition, which it could happen, I guess. But,
intentionally or unintentionally.
But I don't fall down in auditions, so, yet, knock on wood. But for me, it just was so much easier than being a competitive figure skater.
Are there any skills that you've learned from working as an actor, not necessarily being a skater, that you've been able to apply to real life?
Skills as an actor that I've been able to apply to.
You've had to learn something for a role and you're oh, actually that's pretty handy.
Well, I'm trained in weapons. I can fire all types of guns. But I would never own a gun, which is kind of funny. But I know how to defend myself. I just probably wouldn't. It's awful to admit. I love that I'm great with weapons, but it's just not something. I know how to change a mag without looking at it in 3 seconds. I know how to twirl pistols. I had to do that in Boondock Saints too. I had to take pistol twirling classes and rehearse for 2 months straight. So I'm good at parties.
Is there a specific instructor just for pistol twirling?
Yes, I had a guy. I had a pistol twirling guy that gave me a bunch of lessons. And then who's really good at it is Sean Patrick Flannery. And he's just good at it because he's kind of a dork that way, He likes to twirl pistols.
Yes, dork and pistol twirling are 2 words, that's how I describe it.
He's a hot dork. But no, he's just that guy who likes that kind of stuff, and so he actually choreographed the scene in Boondock Saints 2 where I come out with the pistol twirling stuff. He choreographed the whole thing for me.
Do you have any hidden talents?
I do this little impression. It's really kind of scary, I think. It's called Thumbelina Stuck in a Jar. It's my one talent. This is awesome. Keep skating! Get me out of here right now! Stop playing, guys! Get me out of here! I'm also really good at kids' parties.
That's a party trick right there.
I told my nephews I had a little alien trapped inside of me, and for years they thought I had this alien inside, and that was the alien talking.
Party trick. How do you define personal success now, and how has that changed from earlier in your career?
Wow, personal success. Well, I think earlier in my career, I was raised by parents that money defines success, and and all of that. I think for me, doing what you love is what defines success. Being passionate about your job, having a Monday, going to work on a Monday, not feeling like, oh, it's Monday, but being excited that it's Monday. That's how I define success. I love being an actor. I love being on set. I love every aspect of it. And I feel so blessed that I discovered that love early on. Not everybody knows what they want to be when they grow up, you know? So some people, they struggle and they don't discover it till later in life. But I just think having something you're passionate about is so important, and that's what success is. So whether you're passionate about coaching Little League or passionate about,
twirling pistols,
or even like raising kids, if that's what you're passionate about and that's what you want to do, then do it and love it.
Thank you for that painful reminder that tomorrow's Monday.
Tomorrow's Monday. I'm excited for tomorrow.
You love what you do? No. We are going to take audience questions in a moment if anyone would like to line up. How do you relax?
How do I relax? I work out a lot. I find that exercise is very important for my mental health. And maybe because I was raised as an athlete, for me, if I'm upset, I work out. If I'm happy, I work out. If I break up with a boyfriend, I work out. If you know what I mean? If I don't get a job, I work out. If I get a job, I work out. Like, it's just working out is just like the thing that, it keeps me stable, it makes me happy. I work out a ridiculous amount of time. I work out for like 2 hours a day. Don't judge me, please. But it's 2 hours where I just don't have to focus on anything except what my body is doing. And it's kind of meditative for me as well. So I do want to start meditating. I do think I need it. I think I move too much.
I was going to say working out is more meditation. But speaking of working out, did you get to arm wrestle? No? Or did we not get to see that matchup?
No, he was so sweet. He came up to me in the green room and he said he was too intimidated to wrestle me.
Yes, that's very good. All right.
Okay, pretend I'm not working right now. I have a question for you. So I was driving once and I saw someone who looked like John Lithgow and I locked my door.
Good.
So I was wondering, what was it like working with John Lithgow?
Well, I didn't have any scenes with him at all. Not even my death scene was with him. It happened off camera. Sorry, spoiler alert.
But you also lock your doors when you see John Lithgow, right? Okay.
He actually, I did meet him numerous times because the table reads and the read-throughs and everything for the show. And he's such a sweet, lovely man who always has music and in his going through his body. He's always like singing or humming or like, he's just very musical. And he's very kind and very sweet. I do have a funny story. I was in New York City one time and I went to Whole Foods at Columbus Circle and I went to check out and the lady who was checking me out, she was like, and I was like, what? And she was like, Trinity was just here. I guess that's his local Whole Foods, and I guess he was just there like an hour before me, and she was like, oh my God.
Thank you. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
I'm a really big fan. I love how you've developed a career as being this awesome character actor with really great arcs in a lot of the series that you've done, especially from Buffy to Angel. Your longevity in this career has been really impressive. So speaking on Dexter, what did you think about Rita's arc overall throughout the series? And if there's anything you would have changed as Dexter's partner, what would you have changed? What did you think about overall her arc?
Well, I would have changed the end of season 4. I would have changed that. I would have, and I tried. I did try. I said, wait, no, you can't kill me. I just had a baby. Not me, a character, just had a baby. No, I mean, I really loved season 1 and season 2 Rita, like the damaged, fragile bird that she was. Especially season 1 Rita. Because I loved going to work and not having to wear makeup. It was amazing. I rolled in with the guys. Like I didn't have the hour and a half hair and makeup call. I rolled in with the guys, went to rehearsal, they took a look at me, put some powder on my nose, and sent me out. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is what it's like to be a man in the business. I don't have to like sit in the hair and makeup chair forever. And I loved that part of Rita. I loved her damagedness. I was reluctant when they wanted to make her stronger. I tried to fight that, but they felt that she needed to grow and become stronger, and you know, and in becoming stronger, you know, there's more hair and makeup and prettier clothes and all of that. And I was really reluctant. I liked the original Rita, but you know, every character has to grow and change. But yeah, I would have changed the end of season 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would have loved to have explored Rita finding out about Dexter. I really would have loved to have seen what her reaction would have been.
If you, Julie, you, were a serial killer, what would your method of choice be for her?
If I was a serial killer, what would I do? You know, I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. I'm kind of obsessed with true crime. I think, I really think slowly poisoning somebody.
Ooh.
You gotta play the long game, and it's gotta be undetectable. You know, it's hard to get rid of a weapon and not have it be traced back to you. Like, that's tough.
Right.
You know? But I think, like, slowly poisoning.
Would you do it in like a drink or food or some other way? I'm just trying to figure out how to avoid what to avoid in the Reimer.
I'm a really good cook, so I would definitely do it through food. Because you would love what you were eating, but I'd be slowly poisoning you.
You know, if I got it, just my food would be fine by me. So.
But you know, I wouldn't kill a lot of people. It's because I'd have to play the long game.
Right.
The real long game of it. Like months of poisoning.
Up in that dose every day.
Yeah.
Last year I started watching Hallmark movies, and I caught
Good for you.
It was Homecoming Christmas,
Yes.
and I really enjoyed the character you played and watching her transformation from the grieving widow to realizing she could have love again and accepting. And what I was wondering is, if Hallmark offered you another movie, would you do it?
Of course. I love working for Hallmark because, first of all, there's shows that my nephews and niece can watch because they can't watch Dexter.
Nobody gets poisoned slowly.
And so for me, it's always great because it's something like the whole family can sit down and watch. And you know, my niece who's 7 and wants to be an actress, and she knows that people know me from shows, but she can never watch anything I've done. So it's really hard for her to understand why people know me. You know, so, and she really wants to watch Dexter, but she's 7, you know. So Hallmark movies give me that ability where, you know, the younger family members can actually see what their Aunt Julie does for a living. And I just, first of all, I like the channel itself. I like that it's female-oriented, women-oriented, as far as even just like the executives, the stars. You know, it's a very female-friendly channel to work for. And the movies are fun, and who doesn't like a good Christmas movie, right?
The production schedules on those are like pretty aggressive, right?
Yeah, you shoot it in like 12 days.
How does the prep time for that compare? Like,
there's no prep time. You get offered, like they call you and they're like, hey, do you want to do this movie? And like 2 days later you're on a plane, and like 2 days after that you're on set working.
Good.
You just have to be fast.
Have you picked up any like techniques for being like, okay, cool, I'm gonna like get into this character real like?
Yeah, you know, for me, music helps a lot. I try to find songs that maybe would relate to the character, or I find myself attracted to music, and then that would relate to the character. And I also try to read books. Like when I'm doing a Hallmark Christmas movie, I'm not going to read a scary true crime novel before I go to bed. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like I have to read something a little more like uplifting, love-oriented, you know. But then if I am working on something that involves a lot of crime or detective work, then I read a lot of detective novels. So it's just how I take in media while I'm working in media.
It's all one big artistic.
Yeah, I draw inspiration from everywhere.
Hi. So I've been really curious to find out, like, I like how you mentioned that you would like to see how your character Rita would have reacted to Dexter, like his ways in the shadows and whatnot. But like, I wanted to see your perspective on what you actually would have thought of if she found out, because that would be totally different on how it transitioned to the end of the series itself.
Yeah, so for me, I always imagined it would be that you could show Rita the docu-series of Dexter and show her that he was doing all of this. And I think she would have been unable to believe that about him. Especially because she had a child with him. Because I just think it's really hard to recognize that the person you've chosen to be your spouse and that you've chosen to be the father of your child and that you share a life with, if it's revealed that they're a serial killer, it's really hard to take that in, because what does that reveal about you? And what does that reveal about this child of yours? I just don't think she would have, I think she would have defended him, and you could have even shown her the show and she would have been like, that's not my Dexter. That's not him. Because I just don't think she could have taken that in. It would have been nice though if she would join him in killing.
And we know
That would never have happened. That's not Rita.
this is just a very broad question that I like asking people. Do you think human nature is inherently good or evil?
I think human nature is inherently good.
So that the baby would have had a clean slate even if it had 2 serial killer parents.
Yeah, well, I personally think that, and we've seen it happen. We've seen it be generational, but we've also seen it not be generational. We've seen it happen in real life, so I think that, I like to believe humans are naturally good. Sometimes they just fuck up and make mistakes.
Darla question, because I love that character.
Yes.
Most TV series start out with the title character in the first scene, but in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I believe you were in the very first scene.
Yes.
Were you aware at the time that you were going to be opening this series? And if so, did that place any kind of pressure on you as an actress?
Well, I knew I was going to be the first face because I read the script.
A good step in any project.
I read the script. I didn't think, but when we were filming the pilot even, it was for a little unknown network called the WB that nobody had really heard of. And Joss Whedon wasn't Joss Whedon, he was just Joss Whedon. You know what I'm saying? So I think we all just felt like we were at summer camp and trying to, we were hoping it was going to be good, but we didn't know. And I was young, I wasn't really aware of it. To me, it was just a job I was doing, and it wasn't, I didn't think bigger picture. If it was today, and Joss Whedon was doing Buffy today, and Joss Whedon was Joss Whedon today, and I was given that role, then yeah, I would feel a lot more pressure than I did then.
Hi, Julian.
Hi.
My favorite character of yours is Darla, and my whole family is fans all the way back from Buffy. I have 2 questions. One, what was your favorite character over the span of your career?
That's like asking someone to pick their favorite child.
Oh.
I'm gonna rephrase it. Which character do you admire the most?
I'll tell you which one I had them. They were all a lot of fun to play. But when I was on Desperate Housewives, that for me was absolutely magical because I got to work on a show that I was a huge fan of with women whose work I had admired for many years. And Mark Cherry came to me the first day on set and he's like, "We've never given a guest star this much responsibility, so don't fuck it up." And I was like, "Okay, I won't." And it was exciting. It was exciting to be able to like hold my own against, Marcia Cross, Terry Hatcher, and Felicity Huffman, and Eva Longoria, and Dana Delaney, and like to work with all these women who I was like in awe of. So that for me was an exciting character for me.
Also, what a pep talk to get when you
I know, right? Don't fuck up. A lot of, Troy Duffy on Moon Mistakes too. He'd be like, his direction would be like, "Okay, now you go, you get out there, you go out there and don't fuck it up." I'd be like, "Jeez, okay."
Can you be more specific?
I'm like, "You call that directing?" But yeah, it works on me. It works. I'd be like, "Okay, I'm not gonna fuck it up, I promise."
In terms of working with directors, do you prefer a kind of more to the book style, or do you like to improvise? Obviously, not every project has the opportunity to, but
I'm the type of actor that believes that words are written for a reason, and it's my job to elevate them and to bring them to life, and that there's a reason why the writers have chosen those words specifically. But then I have to make it seem like it's improvisational.
it's new every time.
Yeah, it's the first time every time. Joss didn't allow a lot of improv on the show, and it didn't need it because the writing was so specific. And same with Dexter, the writing was so specific, it didn't need it. Now, I've worked on other shows where I've been like, "I gotta fix this." But I do always try to approach the text as, this is the text and it's my job to elevate it and bring it to life in the way that it's written, and these words are chosen specifically for a reason. And how can I do that and make it seem like it's improvisational?
With all of the political changes and the climate in Hollywood and the industry, what would you suggest to help any up-and-coming or newcomers?
Don't go to a hotel room for an audition or a meeting, ever. I think it's important. Listen, I've been 34 years in this industry, and I've come across my fair share of,
Less than upstanding
humans, men and women. And I think for me, I've always been very quick at how to rebuff without offending, like how to diffuse without offending. I remember I was very young. When I was first new in Hollywood, and I was working on a show, and one of the producers had asked me out on a date, and I really didn't want to go out on a date with him, but then he was like a big producer, and I called an older actress friend of mine that I knew, and I said, "What do I do?" And she gave me the best piece of advice, which I've used this line over and over and over again. And the line is, "Oh my God, I'm so deeply flattered, thank you so much. However, I make it a point to never date anybody who's in a position to hire or fire me. But thank you so much." And I tell you, it works, right? It's like, it works, they're never offended, they stop. Now, this older actress told me, "You do have to make it a point then, if that's what you're gonna say." And I've never dated anybody who's ever been in a position to hire or fire me, ever. So I did make it a point to get through my career that way. So I just think it's important that you have those phrases, whether you're a man or a woman, if you're in your work environment, if somebody is being inappropriate or coming on to you, having those key phrases that you know how to do it without offending, but sending the message very, very quickly and very strong,
People this weekend have talked about the power of no. And I think it's just an important reminder of yes, you can say no. It's okay to say the no.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's great that I love this younger generation coming up of women in the industry, especially where like they're going to be believed. I've seen so many people not be believed over what's happened, like over sexual harassment, and it's nice that we're going to believe the victims now, because like it's really hard to speak up and say that happened.
Time's up now.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think being direct about it. I think for, you know, I'm 47, so I was raised in a generation where it was like just play nice. You know, I remember watching Love Boat. Do you remember? You're too young to remember Love Boat.
I've still seen Love Boat though.
Love Boat. You remember that episode when Julie's friend came on and she was super smart and she had to play dumb to get the guy? Yeah, I was raised on that. Like, right? Like that was like the messaging I was getting as a kid. Like, you couldn't be too smart to get the guy. You had to be dumb. I mean, you know the movie Grease? The message that sends out? Dress like a slut and you get the guy?
Don't be yourself.
No.
Yeah.
Like dress like a slut and smoke cigarettes and you're gonna get the cool guy. That was how I was raised. Like, I think changing the messaging is important for young women. I think we're seeing that, we're doing that.
Are there any roles that you remember seeing, like as a performance, that you went like, oh, I dig that. That's a different type of. Obviously, Desperate Housewives, right, is a great example of a show where it was like, oh, these are actually fully formed characters.
Yeah. And yet there were no housewives.
Yeah. Baby steps.
But you know, I loved. Wonder Woman. Even like I watched the original Wonder Woman back in the day, and just seeing her being a badass was awesome because you didn't see that back then. I mean, Buffy was groundbreaking for young girls. You know, I think we see it all the time. We're just getting better messaging now.
Hello. I recently rewatched Defiance, and to just tag on to what you were saying, I think, in my opinion, you got to play that exceedingly strong woman in a potentially very polarizing show, because there were a lot of openly discussed things that were kind of in the hidden background of human nature. So what did you feel with that? Do you feel that you got your message across with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about science fiction is you can do things on a science fiction show that you can't necessarily do on a show that's set in the real world. And you get away with all of that. So I loved playing Amanda Rosewater because she was not defined by a man. And I told the writers, I was like, write me how you would write a guy. Like, she doesn't need to be defined by a relationship or a love interest. And yes, there was kind of that undercurrent with Nolan, but it was never like, they never really ever had a relationship. You know? But it was always there. But it was so great to play a woman that wasn't defined by her relationships, and she was strong and powerful, and it's what I liked about the role and why I took the job in the first place. And I thought the show did a great job of empowering all the female characters on the show. I really thought the show was about the women. And I think all the women, we felt that way on the show. But it's one of the wonderful things about science fiction is you can explore like taboo topics without it being taboo. And you can get away with it, you know, without the censors trying to censor it and saying you can't do this, you can't do that. So anyway.
It's kind of a bummer, right? Like, we have to go to like a fictional science fiction world for us to be able to discuss.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just always been, you know, I mean, Star Trek did it. I mean, it's just always been, and that's why science fiction is so important, because we can explore taboo topics and taboo subjects, and
not even taboo, but like groundbreaking sometimes.
Yeah.
So I would love to know what advice you have, just like not necessarily dealing with bad people in Hollywood, but what advice you have to anyone who might want to be an aspiring actor or actress out there.
You got to believe in yourself more than anybody else. You know, you got to go into it going like, I'm going to do this no matter what. And so many people look for outside validation. And I think that was the one thing, like for me, I just knew it was what I wanted to do, and I was gonna do it. I had no backup plan, and then I was gonna be an actor, and that was it. And whatever that meant, I was gonna be. And you just have to really love it, because it can be tough. It's not the easiest career, but you just have to really love it to the point where you can't imagine not doing it. So, and just, like for me, when I go into auditions, even to this day when I audition, I think of it as a one-night-only performance. I go in, I give it my all, and I leave it there in the room, and I walk out, and it's like, if I get the job, great. If not, did I do what I set out to do in the role, in that room, in that moment? And if I say, yes, I did, then that's a success, whether I get the part or not. And if I say, I had an off day, and I go, oh, thank God I'm not a brain surgeon, right? Because I can have an off day, I might not get the job, but at least I didn't kill anybody. So I just think you just have to really love it.
And perspective, apparently. It's like keeping it in perspective.
Yes.
What is the last thing you binge watched?
The last thing I binge watched is a show everybody should be watching. Years and Years on HBO. How scary is it, right? It's so disturbing. It is so good because it is showing you where we could be in 20 years from now if the world continues as it's continuing. And also with the advancement of technology. And it is, Emma Thompson's in it. Rory Kincaid, who I think is amazing, is in it. It's such a great show. Please watch it. Just watch it.
Everybody has
I think it's 8 episodes. Is it 8 episodes? It's so good. Like, just watch it. I also like Euphoria, but I found it kind of disturbing. I binged that too. That was hard to binge. I don't have kids, and it scared me. It made me thankful I don't have kids. Right? Anybody else see it? It's hard. It's a tough one to watch. I didn't understand the ending, by the way. If somebody could explain me the music video at the end.
Spoilers, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I did not understand the ending.
Where can we see you next?
You can see me next on Sunday. Sunday, August 25th on Showtime. I am recurring on a new series for Showtime called On Becoming a God in Central Florida. It's a long title, I know. It stars Kirsten Dunst. It's a dark comedy that's centered around a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme in the early 1990s. So you'll see me with lots of hair, lots of shoulder pads. I play Carol. Carol's just sweet as pie.
And the first 2 episodes they're making available, right?
The first 2 episodes are actually available for free right now on show.com and on YouTube, but I don't know how to do that YouTube thing. I know there's like YouTube TV and then there's YouTube with videos. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
YouTube it is, but it's on YouTube and on show.com. You can watch it for free right now. The first 2 episodes. Episode 5 is my really big episode, so don't miss it. And in the finale, I get to do a little dance number. I shouldn't tell you like that, but it's really exciting. I get to combine my love of dance and acting.
And multi-level marketing.
It's going to be so much fun. But Ted Levine is in it. Do you guys know who Ted Levine is? It puts the lotion in the basket. Yeah, he is awesome. And I got to work with him, and I was just like, I was so afraid.
Also, someone you lock your doors when you know.
Yes. And by the way, he's the nicest man, but all I could think every time I looked at him was, it puts the lotion in the basket.
He's like, can you do the tracking jar of it puts the lotion in the basket?
I didn't ask him. I did maintain my cool on set, but I will say every time he would like walk away from a conversation with me or whatever, I would turn to whoever was like a crew member and I'd be like, it puts the lotion in the basket. And I can't believe I'm working with him. Silence of the Lambs was one of my favorite movies, right? I mean, everyone's favorite. It's
Yeah.
so good.
I'm not sensing like a murder pattern at all, though.
I like being scared. Like when I decorate my Christmas tree, I watch Dateline. Right? Is it Dateline that does the mystery of like somebody's gone missing?
I mean, that's always Dateline. That's Dateline
Right?
365. So.
Right? And I like to watch Forensic Files too while I decorate the Christmas tree. What's up with that? There's no Christmas music playing. No,
It's not Hallmark. It's Dateline.
Dateline. I like being scared.
All right, well, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.